Testing one, two. Testing one, two. Where am I? I am in Dubai on an airplane. And, I wanted to go live here. So I guess this is it. I'm just going to sit here and chat you guys up for a little while. Because I want to kind of talk to you about what happened with me and how I had to fight for what was mine. What was assigned to me. Yeah, so two things I wanted to do, and I'm going to put this in here so I don't forget. I plan on having a Women in Crypto, the faith-based edition session on belief. I'm definitely going to do it now because I heard Mr. Michael Dacko, he had a live, Facebook Live, I believe it was yesterday morning. I don't know when it was, but anyway, in the last 24 hours. And he was meeting with a group of Asian women. And what we found out in that live was that their families and connections are no different than the African American culture. We talk about seeing is believing, not so much. Not so much. If I get this sun. Anyway, not so much. So, if you get a chance to go by his Facebook page, you really should listen to that, especially if you're into the arena with us as far as assets and kind of what we've stepped into. A lot of us, because of our commitment to this space and sharing with others and so forth and so on, there was an incentive for those of us who met the criteria. This trip pretty much was paid for through that incentive. And so grateful. It's not too often you get to come to Dubai on somebody else's dime. So it's a beautiful thing. So this was a business trip for me, but I literally, guys, I had to fight for this trip. I'll start with this. The other part I wanted to talk about, okay, that's the belief part. I've got a couple of professional kingdom women who, they're not in this space full time. And my question to them would be, you're so busy, you're successful in the other area. And I would sit down here and do this, and all of a sudden 3 or 4 children walk over here and they, whatever. Praise the Lord, okay? So, I found this was nobody sitting over here. That's why I chose it. So, but anyway, I may have to stop it if it gets too loud. Oh, he's taking them on. Praise the Lord. So, there was 2 things I wanted to talk about. One was belief, and like I said, the confirmation came from when I listened to his live with them. The other thing was the signs of the time. Prophet Joshua Giles. I don't have it posted on my Facebook page, but prophetically speaking about probably the month of June and some things that are going to transpire. I normally don't talk about this stuff to my Facebook audience because a lot of you guys are in different spaces in your walk with God. But a lot of what he said aligned with me and what God has been speaking to me about, so that's why I'm mentioning it. And he's about 30 minutes into the word, he got into the whole economics piece, which definitely aligned with me. I sent it over to the committee for the faith-based edition so that they could listen to it. But it just aligned with everything that we got this weekend. One of the things that people, when they look at this opportunity, because it's good, and some people be like, well, it's too good to be true. How can this be sustainable? They showed us the practical side of how they can sustain this. And I said, you know what, God, it's something how we, and I'm just speaking from the perspective of the believer, that we have to see something, that we have to experience it, that we have to understand it before we can participate in it. A lot of people gonna be like Noah. Noah gonna be on the boat with all his family and friends and animals, and folks gonna drown. It's gonna be the same situation. Won't be me though. And anybody else, I hope they listen. But what I want to talk about in that particular segment is not so much seeing is believing in the whole belief perspective, I do want to have that conversation, but the other conversation is for those of us who have been anointed for such a time as this, like the sons of Issachar, who knew the signs of the time, knew they needed to make a move, knew they were anointed to be in this vineyard to get this message out, and you got to keep it moving. You got to keep it moving. So that's that part. But I wanted to go back and talk about how I had to fight for this space. When I booked this trip, I booked it a couple of months. I booked it the next day when I heard about it, and called my travel agent, who's my daughter, Renee's Premier Travel plug. But yeah, she took. I told she earned her coins this trip, because I woke up Wednesday morning and could not find my passport. I took the passport out of the safe when I took a lot of the other papers. You guys know Glenn passed away March 13th. Our whole world got turned upside down in that space. Never have I had to coordinate or facilitate someone's passing. So here I am facilitating and coordinating my ex-husband's passing. You know, he and I, we had wills and affidavits and all this stuff in place. I want to talk about that too. I'll talk about what happened to me, but I want to say this. I've been meaning to say this. When we went through this, I'm going to speak for myself. When I went through this, having to bury my ex-husband, the emotions was such a roller coaster ride, depending on who was calling me, what they needed, why it was taking so long, so forth and so on. And I was calling this person and calling that person. I cannot imagine going through all of that and then having to worry about the financial aspect of it at the same time. There are families who find out that they've lost a loved one, whether it was sudden, whether it was illness, it doesn't matter. But for them to have to bury you and go through the grieving process of you, and at the same time close out your final affairs, and not have insurance policies, because that's the first thing the funeral home's going to ask for. Not have insurance policies, not have financial wherewithal. Now they got these inexpensive burial plans. Get you something so that your family doesn't have to be grieving you and trying to pay for you at the same time. You know, I was just sitting one day and I was, you know, it's a lot of paperwork and stuff and certain things. I was waiting on the death certificate so I could file for, you know, closure of the bank accounts. Even though my name was still on the accounts, they still wanted a will. They still wanted a will, and I had it, okay? When the funeral home called, they get ready to send an invoice. Well, first of all, they want the insurance policy, their insurance. As we went, yeah, we got it. But I was like, how much is it? So they send me over the invoice. I send them back the payment. Okay? Your family, you should be in such a position, personally, as well as you should make sure that your family doesn't have to deal with that kind of situation. I'm going to get off of that because now that I have experienced it, I can't imagine what some families go through. One of my friends just went through this. Young man passed away, no insurance. Mama can't even bury her son. They're having to take up an offering from the family. How many families have to go through that? Now that I've gone through that process, I can't even imagine what that's like. I've already got all this stuff. My world is tumbling because I'm trying to deal with stuff I've never dealt with before. You're trying to deal with the emotion of the loss of the person. You're dealing with the business side of it. And oh, by the way, no money. What? God, and here's the thing, it's not that expensive. Go get you something so your family don't have to deal with that craziness. I'm going to get off of that for now. But I've been wanting to say that for like 2 months. But to know that you can resolve that, and my family, tell you, I didn't ask anybody for a dime because I didn't have to. All right. So the thing I want to get back to is this trip. I had to fight for what was mine on this trip. I woke up Wednesday morning. I don't know where my passport is. The last time I saw my passport, I took my passport, Glenn's passport, all the identification, insurance policies, wills, medical I took everything because I didn't know what anybody was going to ask me for. So I took everything out of the safe. I laid my passport down in a specific place that was sitting there for weeks. When I got up Wednesday morning and went to go to the spot that I thought I left it in, my passport said, "Find me." I didn't panic at first, but about 2 hours later, I was in pure panic mode. I called my girlfriend. I said, "I got a problem." I called Taisha. I got a problem. But I'm going to fast forward through it. It had to do with my network of friends and connections. It had to do with resources to be able to move the way I really needed to be able to move. And it had to do with diligence and perseverance and all of that, because I knew I was supposed to be in Dubai. I've been looking forward to that trip. One of the reasons why I was looking forward to that trip, because first of all, the trip was all expenses paid. I earned it. The other reason was because there were some certificates that, I don't know, can you guys, let me see, let me turn around this way. There were some certificates that had Dubai bonus money connected to it, and the only way you could get that money was to be in Dubai. Wasn't about to let that go. So the travel voucher, the bonus money for the certificates, there was a debit card involved. That by just the grace of God, I was given the opportunity to have access to that card. I was asked for my identity, my proof of residence, and all that kind of stuff. And shout out to Randy Love. He was the reason why that happened for me. But I couldn't find my passport, guys. So I'm tearing my house up all day Wednesday. I knew I wasn't going to make that trip, but I don't know. My flight was supposed to leave Houston at 8 p.m. Wednesday night. I called Taisha. I said, we're going to have to cancel the flight. I can't find it. So my friend calls me, Randy. He calls me and he's saying, what does it mean when you hear these voices kind of like talking to you, talking in your head? And, I'm saying to myself, I can't tell her that. And they said, what does that mean? You know what I said to him? It means you got a word for me. You need to give it to me. What is it? So he started speaking prophetically to me. And I'm bawling. I'm bawling because I know it's God. I had prayed that morning. I prayed 2 prayers that morning. And specifically to one of the prayers was the answer through Randy, and he gave it to me. And then at the end of it, he said, I don't know what this means, but I think you need to call that girl back. There was a young lady that I connected with. She was trying to get me an appointment. She was supposed to try to get me an appointment at the passport office. You have to have an appointment for those one day. Go get your passport. They don't guarantee you're going to get it the same day. So I called her. She gave it to one of her comrades to send it to me. He never did. That was Thursday. So, that was Wednesday. So that Thursday morning was when Randy called me, and Randy was like, I think you need to call her back. I said, but I don't know if she's legit though. He said, I think she's legit. I think you need to call her back. I didn't question him at that moment. I trusted it. And so I said, okay, I'm going to call her right now. So I called her. She answered the phone. And she was like, he didn't call you back? He didn't send you an email? I said, mm-mm. She said, okay, I'm going to find out what happened. If he didn't handle it, I'll do it. This girl, about an hour and a half later, she sent me information where she had booked me an appointment at the Dallas passport office. Guys, I'm in Houston. And I said, I don't have anything in Houston. She said, nothing's coming across. I grabbed the Dallas because I didn't want to let it go because the canceled appointments go fast. So I said, okay. So I called Taisha. I said, look, I need you to book me a flight to Dallas. I need to be on the first flight out of here Friday morning. I said, and book me out as close to 5 o'clock as you get. So she booked me out. I got to Dallas at 8:30 Friday morning. Guys, I had an 11 o'clock appointment. I walked into the passport office at 10:40 because I was trying to, they said 10:45, but I got there about 10:40. I had to go do the check in rather, so they make sure you have all your documents, picture and all that. They run you through that process, and then you have to sit. I don't know what time they waited on me. I want to say they waited on me. It was close to, 12:30 maybe, something like that. I think I sat for an hour. So then I get to the window, and she was like, they're getting close to moving the passports to the next day, which would have been Monday. I said, oh God, I gotta be in Dubai. I said, I'm supposed to be in Dubai. I mean, I'm just, because I can't even tell you the anxiety. And I finally had to relax because it was just, I didn't like the way it was making me feel. I had to just breathe. So she said, it's saying 1 to 3, but we can't make any guarantees. She said, you'll have to come back. So I left 12:30, I think it was. So 12:30 to 1:30, I sat in the lobby of the building. 1:30, we all went back up there, and what you knew was to wait for your name to be called. 1 o'clock went. 1:30 went. 2 o'clock went. 2:30 went. And here's something. I met this guy. He picked me up from the airport. He's my Uber driver. He picked me up from the airport. When he found out what was going on, he said, listen, you call me when you got your passport. If I'm in the area, I'll come back and get you and just bring you to the airport. I was like, you know what? So here's the thing. I went back in, said with all the other people, just names being called. I met this beautiful lady who her and her husband drove from Houston 4 hours to come get her passport. At 1:30, she walks out with her passport. I said, oh man, I need 1:30 because my flight from Dallas back to Houston was at 4 p.m., 10 minutes after 4. I had to be on that plane if I was going to make the 8 o'clock flight to Dubai. So I'm sitting there, and I'm just sitting there. At 3 o'clock, my name gets called, and I go and get my passport. Now, I'm glad I have my passport because I have another trip in June going back to Dubai. I need my passport. So I'm feeling good about that I got my passport in my hand. So I'm calling the guy. I'm calling the Uber so the Uber can be downstairs. When I get downstairs, I'm in the car. I'm out. It is now 3:05. Waiting for my Uber. I got a 25-30 minute trip. It's traffic. I'm headed back. My flight leaves at 10 after 4. So I get in the Uber. He takes me to the airport. I get out. I'm running because I have a TSA pre-check kind of thing. I don't have to stand in line. So I go in, flash my little eyes across the thing. They take me through TSA. Don't have to take off everything. So I get through security like in record time. I get to the gate, which is not too far. Get to the gate. They are boarding, but the plane was so booked going back to Houston that the line was long, so it was delayed. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for the delay, Lord. So I'm in the line, and I get up there, and there's like, there's no more place for you to put your baggage. Guys, the Holy Spirit had told me to downsize my luggage from a regular size luggage to a carry-on because I wasn't going to have enough time to go get my luggage and come back through international and get that Dubai flight. So I packaged I took stuff out. I was already missing 2 days because I was supposed to be in Dubai Thursday night. So I was like, I'm not going to be there Thursday. I'm not going to be there Friday. I don't need all these clothes. So I took all the stuff out, downsized to a backpack and my carry-on. So I get to the airport. It's no more space on the plane for the carry-ons. So they had to check the bags. I was like, no, can't do it. So I told her what my dilemma is. She said, well, we're partners with Emirates. We'll just book your flight all the way to Dubai. I was like, yes. So in the midst of all this, I got my daughter on the line, I got my girlfriends on the line, and I got Randy. Randy was like, you better give me a strip. Okay, so you have your passport? Yeah, I will text you when I get my passport. So anyway, I get to the airport and I get on the plane. I get back to Houston. Well, here's the thing. They booked my luggage all the way to Dubai, so I didn't have to worry about it. All I had was my backpack. And I'm going somewhere with this. So I don't really know in full totality yet, other than there are 2 individuals that I met in Dallas that are just amazing individuals. I don't know why they were introduced to me in this season, but they were, and we'll see what God does with those 2 relationships. But I made the plane, breathed when I got back on that plane for Dallas. When it landed, I landed in Houston at 5:20 p.m. I had enough time, plenty of time, to get to my international gate for Dubai. I had an hour and a half before they started boarding. Guys, I can't even tell you the sigh of relief. Because again, I have no idea where that passport went. I mean, I didn't go anywhere. I didn't use it. Probably should have kept it in the safe instead of pulling it out with the rest of the papers, but because I was pulling out all of Glenn's papers, and I was like, when I pulled out his identity stuff, anything that I had to prove my identity or whatever, because I didn't have his driver's license. I had his passport, but I didn't have his driver's license. So when I took his passport out the safe, I took mine out too. I don't know, I went through all the papers that I had for him that I had to use at the funeral home and other stuff. I went through everything and I couldn't find it. I said, if I get back home and I find it. But I made my trip. I accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish on this trip. Enjoyed the parts that I was supposed to be a part of as far as I'm concerned. Got to connect with some new women. Shout out to Coach Ty and Cindy, who are part of Team Randy as well for this company. And so we just connected, and yeah. Now I'm sitting at the airport waiting to go back home. That was first of all, it was nerve-wracking to be in the midst of it. And shout out to everybody who was making it work. I mean, I told my daughter I'm going to have to buy her something. Because, honey, between her, she had to cancel my first flight to Dubai. She had to book my flight to Dallas, book me back, rebook the flight to Dubai for Friday instead of Wednesday, and because we had just canceled the Wednesday flight, I couldn't use the credit. It hadn't even been assigned to my name yet, so it's just still sitting there. I'll use it when I got another trip in September. I'll probably use it for that. But I had to buy another ticket for Dubai. And to make that trip. And then she said, when you get on that plane for Dubai, I'll book you a hotel, because you know what hotel I love to stay at in Dubai. For a whole lot of reasons, but anyway, she was able to get me at my hotel in Dubai, and all is well with the Lord. Oh my God! And to my friends and to Mr. Randy Love, who was in the trenches with me, praise the Lord. Anyway, I couldn't wait to tell you guys that story. I'm super excited. You should be able to see all of my pictures out on my timeline. Just amazing time. On Saturday night for the meet and greet, on Sunday for the conference and the training. The gala was absolutely amazing. And yes, Coach Trina, them gloves was all the rage. I had to do it. I'm a little eccentric when it comes to that kind of stuff. But when I tried those on, I was like, yeah, I gotta have those. So yeah, I love me some gloves. But it was exciting. The company is exploding. It was obvious by how many people were at this event. Last time I went to the event, I want to say it was probably 500. I don't know if it was that many. This was like 4 times as many, maybe 5. I don't know. It was a lot of people, you guys. If you looked at my timeline and you see, it was huge. I mean, there's such an explosion in this space. And here's what I said. I was talking to this beautiful lady. I'm going to put her picture in my timeline. I just met this Asian lady out of Los Angeles. Just a beautiful spirit. I don't know what made her turn around to me. I mean, I don't have anything on me that says GSP. She's like, were you here for the Gold Standard Partners Conference? I was like, yes. I don't know why she asked me that. But anyway, she's such a sweet spirit. And we were talking about, she asked me when did I get in? And I told her from the beginning, December of 2020. And the first thing out of her mouth was, I bet you're glad you said yes. I said, yeah, I am. Because there are a lot of people that's looking at this opportunity. Now, they had the opportunity to say yes. And they didn't. And even though they may have gotten in, they didn't do anything with it. They just kind of got in just to say just in case. But they missed out on a lot of the things that we've grown with this company with. And it's too late for them to try to get that back. So now people just have to get in and take advantage of what's happening now. And it's still a phenomenal opportunity. But for those of us, and that's what always happened, for those of us that got in on the ground floor, yeah, we are extremely blessed. I don't have time to go into Mr. Hyde. He a Facebook Live all by himself. Nobody knows how to throw a party like Joseph Hyde. I said that too. But that's it. I just wanted to record this. I wanted to record my journey because I woke up Wednesday morning with just all was right with the world until I couldn't find my passport. And I was like, oh crap. So shout out to my daughter, shout out to Tamara, shout out to Randy Love, and shout out to my Uber driver in Dallas who got me there on time. And yeah, God is faithful. Mission accomplished. See y'all later.